Chapter 23 of Just for Juniors, Little Talks to Little Folks by Reverend Gerald T. Brennan. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Maria Therese. Chapter 23 God and the Little Blind Girl. Girls like to run and play. They like movies, picnics, pretty dresses, fancy shoes, and stylish hats. And little girls like to dream. Yes, they spend a great deal of time dreaming. About what do they dream? Well, that's a secret, and I'm not going to give away any secrets this morning. But I am going to tell you a story about Mildred Walker. It's a sad story, and a true story. Mildred lived in Detroit and was in the 5th grade. She was a good pupil and worked hard in school. But after school she had plenty of fun. She played hard, laughed easily, and had lots of friends. Mildred certainly enjoyed life. Always smiling, always happy, the little girl never found fault, never quarreled, never complained. No wonder that her friends loved her. Of course, Mildred loved her friends, too. She loved life. She loved God. I think that God loved Mildred because, one day, He asked her to carry a very heavy cross. Mildred was taken sick. Very sick. For a few days she remained at home, and then the doctor ordered the girl to be moved to a hospital. Did that scare little Mildred Walker? Not at all. The little girl was a real soldier. She wasn't afraid to go to the hospital because she knew that the doctors would help her. She knew, too, that God would hear her prayers and make her well again. Mildred spent 8 months in the hospital, 8 long months of suffering and pain. But the little girl never found fault. She never complained. Even in her sickness she smiled easily and was very patient. Of course, many times Mildred longed to be back at school. If she could only get out and play! She longed for the day when she would be well again. She was certain that God would take care of her, that He would make her well, that He would answer her prayers. Mildred prayed and prayed for one thing, that God would make her well. Every morning she received Holy Communion, and every morning she begged God to make her well. Now, don't get the idea that Mildred was trying to hurry God. She wasn't trying to hurry God, but she wanted God to know that she needed Him. She knew that God was taking His time, but she felt that God had to take care of many other people first. Some day God would get around to her. Then God would answer her prayers and she would be well again. Little Mildred became weaker and weaker. And one morning she tried to open her eyes, but her eyes wouldn't open. Mildred was blind. The girl couldn't see. Even then she didn't complain. Mildred Walker was certainly a brave girl, and she never gave up hope. She would get well. She would! She would! God would make her well. That's what she believed. That's what she hoped. That was her prayer. Then came Mildred's birthday. The little girl had been awake most of the night, and, in the morning, she was tired and weak and burning with fever. At 8 o'clock the priest came to give her Holy Communion. As the priest knelt at the side of the bed, Mildred prayed for a long time, prayed that God would make her well. Finally the little girl asked a question. "Father," she asked, "am I going to die?" The priest did not speak. Then the little girl asked again, "Father, am I going to die?" The priest touched the child's hand and did not answer. The little girl understood. Tears ran down her cheeks, and after some moments she cried out in anger, "God, I prayed to get well, and you're not even listening to me." Mildred was wrong. God was listening, and He heard every one of the girl's prayers. All the time she was in the hospital, God was listening. And what do you think God did? That same afternoon, God took Mildred to heaven. Now the little girl sees again, plays again, laughs again, in heaven. Yes, God answered the girl's prayers. God gave Mildred something better than she wanted. There are too many boys and girls who act like Mildred. These boys and girls pray for so many things, and, when they don't get them, they become angry with God. Yes, when some children don't get answers to their prayers quickly, they cry out, "God, you're not even listening to me." Now that's wrong. God is always listening. God hears every single prayer. Sometimes God makes you wait. He wants to see whether you really want the thing for which you are praying, and He makes you ask and ask. If you want something from your mother, very often you don't get it the first time you ask. So what do? You tease and beg until your mother gives it to you. Well, God likes to be teased, and you tease God by praying and praying. So, if God makes you wait, don't think that He isn't listening. Now remember this, too. Sometimes you may ask God for something that is not good for you. You may think that the thing will be good for you, but God knows better. There are lots of things that are not good for you. Did you ever ask your mother to buy you a pocket knife with sharp blades? You thought you could have lots of fun with a pocket knife, but your mother knew that you might cut yourself. So your mother didn't buy it. Well, God works the same way. God may not give you what you want, because He knows that a certain thing will harm you. God hears your prayers always, and He answers by giving you something that will be good for you. Children, no prayer is ever wasted. God knows what you want even before you ask. However, He wants you to ask. He wants you to pray. Remember, every prayer brings some kind of an answer. End of chapter 23.